What is going on, party people? Welcome to your daily off-the-cuff stream. Here on the Time Teller channel, we got a bunch to talk about today. Hamilton has released yet another media-based collaboration. We're going to go over that new release and some of my favorite, Hamilton media watches, because believe me, they're not new to this. There's a new Unimatic release, kind of like a NASA collaboration, and anytime there is space involved with wristwatches, people go crazy, and we're gonna see if it's a goodbye or a goodbye. We'll see what happens with that, and then we're going to go over and look at the watch charts. Shout out WatchCharts, and we're gonna see where the market is today. If you enjoy these streams, go ahead, click the subscribe button, and then at the end, we will go ahead and do some super chats. I will be reading all super chats within reason. Don't try to make me say something naughty. All right, guys. But if it's a penny or a pound, I really do appreciate that. But before we get into anything, I'm going to tell the time. It is 9:50 a.m. Let's get down to business. So, okay. First thing I gotta bring up, yesterday's stream was so naughty, I feel like. It definitely didn't get the reception that I anticipated. I knew it was going to push some buttons, but I didn't think it was going to be like a white knight fest. So for those of you who don't know what I spoke about, I'm definitely not going to go over all of it right now because I don't want to take this live stream down. But essentially, Casey Anthony, who definitely did not unalive her child, she's back in social media. She had the audacity to go ahead and make a TikTok about how she's like a legal advocate. She's going to essentially speak for those who can't, and she's going to help people. And if you pay $100, you can watch my content on Substack. And I was like, all right, it's getting a bit much. Like, regardless of if she did it or not, she's very publicly disliked. And so it's kind of crazy that she thinks she can just come back and get this wide reception, and have people support her. Unfortunately, because the crime happened back in 2008, people that need legal advocacy, that are looking for people who aren't lawyers, they're probably pretty desperate, and they may not know that Casey Anthony was accused of what she was accused of. Anyway, she was wearing a wristwatch in that little clip, and people, they love to ask me, what watch was this character wearing? What watch was this actor wearing? What watch was this? And so, as a joke, people were asking me to identify the watch that she was wearing. And the truth is, it looked like some gaudy, cheap Michael Kors watch, but there wasn't enough information, like visible information, for me to make a confident, analysis of the watch. So I couldn't identify it. So I asked ChatGPT to develop a wristwatch and design a wristwatch for Casey Anthony based upon the allegations leveled against her. And again, I need to say she was acquitted of that crime of unaliving her daughter. But, it was funny because ChatGPT was like, this watch is going to have a 31-day countdown timer because she didn't report her child missing for 31 days. On the date wheel, the 16th of the month is going to be blood red, because that's the last day that Casey Anthony's daughter was confirmed seen alive, the 16th of June, 2008. And anyway, it had like specs like that, and it was kind of tongue-in-cheek, and people got super mad. People got super mad in the comments. They didn't like that I was, I guess, having fun with the watch world. But the truth is, I don't know why people are white knighting for this woman. Like, I think that we should speak our mind, use our First Amendment right, and share our opinions about her, because I don't think she's a good person. So I was having some fun, and people got super butt mad, and I'm definitely not going to attack the watch community as a whole, but I think the reason that I am somewhat just outside of like the watch world's like inner circle is because I don't really go with the flow, and I have fun with my watches the way I choose to have fun with my watches and the watch world. And some people are a bit more uptight, and they just want to be aficionados, and they just want to talk about specs, and they want to be hyperclinical, and I'm not that way with watches. So I like to have fun with everything I do, and if it's not fun, then I don't want to do it. So anyway, let's get into the first topic of the day. Hamilton is releasing this very interesting looking watch. I actually like it because it's not just one crystal. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 inlays. And it has this kind of textured chapter ring with a stepped inner dial and a bright orange, index at the 12 and second hand. And it looks cool and futuristic and crazy and kind of like if kind of like if a vintage Hamilton was made in the future, if that makes sense. It's kind of rounded off, but like a round off rectangular, Hamilton from the past, but for the future. Now, this is a game collaboration for Death Stranding 2. Now, I don't know if you played the first Death Stranding, but I don't think it got the reception that Kojima wanted, because, of course, Kojima is the mastermind behind the Metal Gear series. Metal Gear Solid is his claim to fame, and he's an incredible video game designer. Metal Gear Solid's probably one of my favorite video game series ever. And speaking of Metal Gear Solid, there was actually a really cool watch in Metal Gear Solid that Big Boss wore, and Seiko actually collaborated to produce it. It's actually really cool. They have some in-game art here. Just an interesting kind of digital tactical watch. So this isn't, Kojima's first collaboration with a watchmaker. But going back to this one, there was some controversy with Kojima not being part of the Metal Gear series anymore after Phantom Pain or whatever. And so then he went and kind of pivoted and did Death Stranding. And people said it was kind of convoluted and complicated. And I didn't play the first one. Maybe the second one will be better. I'd be excited to play that. But anyway, cool limited edition watch. Here's what we know about it. Has the Hamilton H10 movement. Cool. 21,600 BPH sweep. That's actually a really cool shot. How you can see it from the side. That's very cool. 50 meter water resistance rating, and it is a limited edition. Cool display case back. Death Stranding 2 on the beach. Very cool. 48 by 36, 13.7 millimeters thick, PVD coated black titanium case. As I said, 50 meter water resistance rating, 80 hour power reserve with that H10. It is a limited edition, $1,495, 2,000 pieces only. I'm not going to be doing a goodbye or goodbye with this one. I'm just kind of telling you the news in this case. Would I pick it up personally? Probably not, because I'm not a huge fan of that IP. I don't really care about Death Stranding. Maybe if I play the second one and I absolutely love it, then I'll regret not buying this. I think it's a cool watch. I think it would be even cooler if they gave it a 100 meter water resistance rating. I think it'd be difficult with the way that they did the crystal and kind of case framing, but it's possible. It would also probably make the watch a lot more expensive. By the way, guys, I do have to let you know the show that I did yesterday that I took down is just going to be going on my other channel. So I'm just going to re-upload it on my other channel. So if you do want to see it, it's youtube.com/@canweusethатword. It's like my podcasting channel, and where I talk about kind of like naughty stuff. So if you do want to, play that video for yourself, it's not going to be on the Time Teller channel, but it will be someplace else. So as I said, I think this is a cooler watch, the Metal Gear Solid watch, and it's cheaper, $375. So now, because it already came out, I think it'd probably be harder to find because it's limited edition. This was limited to 2,500. So it is what it is. But again, Hamilton is the Hollywood watchmaker. A ton of movies, all of these movies had Hamiltons. 2001 Space Odyssey, custom-made Hamilton watch spotted. Let's go over some of my favorite. Actually, this, Jack Ryan. The Jack Ryan Hamilton chronograph, PVD coded. I don't know if they'll open it. Is actually one of my favorite Hamilton movie watches. 100-meter water resistance rating, I believe with the threaded crown. That is probably one of my favorite movie watches, specifically Hamilton. Let's see. Dwayne Johnson, below zero. I'm sick of this watch. Wasn't that also in the Matt Damon Martian movie or whatever? Let's see. We could go over this this isn't even a complete list. Obviously, the Hamilton Ventura is probably one of the most recognizable movie watches because all the Men in Black agents wear them. I think it's really cool. I love the Hamilton Ventura. I don't own one. I'd like to get an old vintagey one, but like it's very Art Deco-y, like not really art. It's very 1950s weird. Like weird. Like you could see this in an old diner or something. But yeah, just a bunch of Hamilton releases and people. I mean, I can see in the comment section. Let me see. I was literally thinking 15 minutes ago that Hamilton would stop making goofy film. Yeah, not all Hamilton film watches have been goofy. So I think that we should give them some credit that they make some legit watches like that Jack Ryan watch. But leave me a comment in the comment section. What's your favorite Hamilton movie watch? And what's your favorite movie watch in general? For me, with the Hamilton movie watch, I would say the Jack Ryan PVD chrono with the 100-meter water resistance rating. I think as far as movie watches in general, that's a difficult one. The James Bond Seamasters have been cool, but I feel like it's kind of hacky to pick those at this point. Do you know what I mean? So it's I'm trying to think. Wasn't the Seiko? Wasn't that in Moonraker? The Moonraker Seiko, right? Let's see if I can find this thing. Moonraker Seiko. Is it? Yeah, the memory bank calendar. Yes, I was right. Memory bank calendar in Moonraker. This might be one of my favorite watches because it definitely went against the grain as far as James Bond watches needing to be luxurious. Now, by the way, this was really high tech at the time. I think this was Roger Moore, right? This is back in the Roger Moore era. Yeah, Roger Moore, 1979. So this was like very, very, very high tech and very James Bondy at the time, but it went against the grain. It's not an analog watch, and it's definitely not, I guess by today's standards, luxury. But yeah, leave me that comment. What's your favorite Hamilton media watch, and what's your favorite media watch in general. Movies, TV, video game, let me know. Moving on, we're going to be going into a goodbye or goodbye section. Okay. Here's the Unimatic. Unimatic is one of these watchmakers that seems to make solid watches. And the specs on this, I would say thumbs up. I'm gonna bury the lead a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna edge you. Unimatic X Masena Lab U1 SPG NASA Artemis limited edition. It is coated matte orange, which is interesting. I actually like that contrast. Has an orange strap, black crown, black bezel, and of course matte black dial with some faux patinated kind of custardy indexes and lume. Now here's what's interesting. Okay, it's paying homage. Let's see. NASA Artemis 2 mission will mark the first crewed mission to the new Space Launch System SLS rocket, a next generation heavy lift rocket designed to carry astronauts to the moon and eventually Mars. Dude, imagine the Mars watches come. You know that watchmakers are going to fist fight to get their freaking watch on the astronauts' wrist that are going to Mars. Omega is going to pay the government big money for that. Because that's going to be crazy. The first astronauts to go to Mars. Guys, super chat. Even if it's pennies, let me know. Who do you think's going to win the bid for? Who's going to win the bid for a contract with NASA for the first Mars mission? It's probably not going to be Unimatic. Just spoiler alert. 120 click unidirectional bezel, 60-minute scale, screw down crown, Cerakote. So this is Cerakote. And it does have a 300 meter water resistance rating. So this is a legit watch. Like, it is a legit watch. Also, GMT. So you look at the specs and you're like, well, what's the issue? Is it a good buy or is it a goodbye? We go down here and it gets, this is where it becomes a problem. Okay. It's limited $12.95. Okay. It is 40 millimeters. That's great. Bumps it up to just over 41 millimeters with the bezel. Fine. Has a Seiko NH movement. It's automatic, but it's a collar GMT. Okay. It's not a true GMT. Now, this is where we get into the argument about... Okay. I've made a video explaining the difference between these two things. But this is where we get into the argument about why did the time teller call this legit GMT, not a true GMT? Well, it's because the term true GMT doesn't actually mean that other kinds of GMTs aren't displaying GMT. Okay? A true GMT is also known as a traveler's GMT. This is where the GMT hand can jump independently of the rest of the handset. All right. Then you have what are called office GMTs or collar GMTs. Now, when I say collar, I don't mean collar. I mean like beep, boop, boop, boop. Hey, how are you? I'm calling you. Okay. So those office or collar GMTs are GMTs in which the hour hand does not move independently. The GMT hand is the only hand that moves independently. Now, in the watch world, for some reason, probably due to the expense of watchmaking and the complexities therein, true GMTs are more sought after and more expensive. Okay? For some reason, true GMTs, where the hour hand jumps independently, are more expensive than office GMTs. This Unimatic is an office GMT. And here's my problem. 300 meter water resistance rating with a threaded crown is incredible. Cerakote, awesome. This is going to be a really tough watch, right? Bezel, super functional. Automatic GMT, even better. I don't care that it's not a true GMT. It's limited to 99 pieces, which is pretty dang limited. $12.95. Here's why I am going to say this is a goodbye. Because these specs, 300 meter water resistance rating, that's really impressive. But I've seen 200 meter water resistant watches with office GMTs that are not this expensive at all. So I think they are asking this price, yes, because it is limited, but also because it has the NASA branding. So I don't know, but I'm going to say goodbye. You can let me know in the chat what we're thinking here. It's a good looking watch, but and I like the color orange, and I like the contrast. The issue with me is I could not daily this much orange. I could not daily that much of an orange strap. And it's not because I'm some fashionista. I'm wearing a Carhartt hoodie, some CQR tactical pants, and a Ford off-road hat. Actually, coincidentally, with some orange on it. But this is about the extent of the orange that I will wear daily. So that's it is what it is. Leave me that comment. Let me know. All right, moving on. This is something we're going to be doing more often. We're going to be paying attention to WatchCharts. Now, I am not affiliated with WatchCharts. We follow each other online. I really like this website, and it's a very good tool when it comes to checking prices, seeing where the market's going. Why try to do all the research into all the minutia independently? It's you have someone doing it for you. It's just much easier. So, Rolex Kermit, we already knew because this is essentially the 50th anniversary sub. This is not the Kermit with a C, the ceramic Kermit, also known as the Starbucks, which is the current green bezel sub. This is the older one with the slim lug, 40 mil, doubled, okay, from retail. That's actually not a bad price though for this. So to put it in perspective, this has come down, and we can see that it's come down a little bit, but still double retail. Not surprising. I really like that watch though, and if I were to get another 40 mil slim lug sub, I think I would go for that one. But the truth is, I kind of want the 41 millimeter Starbucks. I've told you that. But I've also said that it's a goodbye. And the reason is because you're not going to be able to ever get one at retail. So paying inflated prices, double retail for a sub, I think that is idiotic. I think that's stupid. So if that's kind of, spoiler alert, anytime someone asks me if a modern Rolex that is still on the catalog, if it's a goodbye or goodbye, it's always going to be goodbye. Because unless you can get it at retail, there's no freaking point. Now, here's the interesting thing. Where is it? Two-tone Daytonas. And I have a sneaking suspicion it is there. Let me see. They had one. They had one here, but they're hiding it from me. That's actually really not bad. Retail, $14,900. Market, $18,900. That's actually not bad. They were showing a two-tone Daytona, which I think was a was a Zenith Daytona. That actually dipped below retail, which surprised me greatly. I'm trying to find it. Oh, here. Look at this. 11,653. Retail was 21,100. Market 16,000. This would be a good buy. This would be a good buy. Now, pre-pandemic, you could get this for like 14 grand all day. That's, I mean, it is what it is. So it's up to you to decide what you're going to do with your money, but I think that this is probably a good buy. Like, thumbs up. This and drum roll, here's the least surprising pick of the day. Retail 11.6, market 8.1. Why? Because it looks like a litter box on the dial. And I have a lot of experience with this because I have 3 cats. This looks like a litter box. Welcome to the Rolex litter box. Disgusting. People get upset that I okay, this is probably a rant for another one of my off-the-cuff streams, but I get it when people complain about me complaining about Rolex because they can't really win, but it's their own fault. I will not take the blame for this. And here's why. They just regurgitate the same designs over and over again, okay? And then they do not so subtle changes in regards to the dial. Like, okay, let me see. I'm going to give you an example. Oh my gosh. This makes me want to throw up. I'm trying to find a good image for you guys. You guys remember this? I think I called this the flip-flop. Right? Didn't I call this the Rolex flip-flop? Because it looks like some design that you'd find on like a beach store. Like you're like, oh man, I forgot to pack my flip-flops. Oh, I'll just get this. Has some stupid palm trees on it, but whatever. That that's what it looks like. So this is just a regular date just with a really hideous palm leaf motif. You guys remember when they released this like a few years ago? Now don't get me wrong, this is a regurgitated design. It's and I'm not talking about the dial. I'm saying it's just a date just with a disgusting dial, and they're saying, "Hey, ta-da, it's a new watch." And then they release things like that stupid Rolex litter box where it's just disgusting and ugly. And ta-da, it's a new watch. No, it's not. It's just a lady's date where you bedazzled it and it looks disgusting. So and people say, "Oh, with jewelry, with the time teller, Rolex can't win. Because if they give us the same products," he complains that there's no innovation. But when they change it, then he's upset that it's different. So I get why you might think that. But things like this prove that there's actually no innovation going on at all. Like Rolex puts a model that they've had for 70 years on an Oyster Flex strap. Like they take a Daytona that they've had forever, and they put it on an Oyster Flex strap, and they say it's a new release. The time teller complains about it. But then the time teller complains that there's no innovation at the same time. Yeah, because you putting a watch that they've had forever on a different strap or bracelet does not make it a new watch. We should all be complaining about this. Like, I think the worst example is when they did the Batman Jubilee change. Batman released on an Oyster, I believe, first, right? Then they put it on a Jubilee bracelet, and they called it a new release. It's stupid. So yeah, Rolex can't win if you oversimplify it. Damned if they do, damned if they don't. But I don't think you're understanding what my complaint is. I'm saying they're not actually changing anything. They're just doing disgusting dials, like that stupid polka dot dial, and the palm frond dial, the flip-flop, and things like the litter box. It's not innovation. They just do the same thing over and over and over again. And yes, there are some Rolexes that I own, and there are some modern Rolexes that I like the Starbucks and some of their modern two-tone offerings. But it's not great. It's I'm sorry. It's not, I don't know. It's not impressive to me. But let me know what you think, guys. That was my rant. Again, Hamilton, new media watch. That's nothing new. The Unimatic, I don't think I think it's a goodbye. I don't think that it's worth the money, only because I take a look at micro brands every single week that have similar specs for like half the price. Also, a little bit too much orange. And the Rolex market is still as weird as ever, where some are less than you think and some are more than you think. Until I see something crazy happening, I don't think we're going to freak out, but I do want to monitor the market daily because I want to bring you the best news when it comes to the world of horology and EDC. So guys, please become a channel member. Again, when you become a channel member, you get access to the members only Discord, and you get to help pick the things that I will talk about here on the Off the Cuff daily streams. So that would really help me out a ton. In fact, if you're watching this stream after the fact, then please go ahead and comment and say, hey, I became a member. And I'm going to put a sneaky link that only the members can see, that you can join the channel membership. And subscribe and follow me on Instagram. If you don't follow me on Instagram, what are you doing? I just hit 234,000 followers, and my last 5 reels that I've done have broken 1 million views each. Like, I get like 50 million views a month over there. I'm putting out a ton of content, so you're missing out. But I will go and see you tomorrow. I have a podcast to do over on my other channel. And again, I'm going to be posting that watch video about Casey Anthony's wristwatch over on the other channel. And so you guys don't have to be upset and offended about it here. All right, guys, stay happy, stay healthy, stay blessed. I'm Jory Goodman, the Time Teller. And always remember, I didn't invent time. I just tell it. Love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow.